welcome to the Living Consciously TV show. Coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado studios, I'm your host and moderator, Coach Steve Toth, and our theme today is being of service of our viewers and provide value by answering their questions. And let me introduce you to our guest today, beginning with Ninon de Rosa. She is joining us from Las Vegas, Nevada, and she's part of our Self-Evolution cast. Welcome to the show, Ninon.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be with you, especially coming into the 6th season. I'm thrilled.
Yeah, me too. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then also Jamie Lerner, and she's also part of our Self-Evolution cast, and she's joining us today from Puerto Rico. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. And next is Janet Cook. Janet is joining us from Aurora, Colorado. She's also part of our Self-Evolution cast, and she is snowed under 9 inches. Welcome to the show.
And coming down pretty good, may I say. It'll probably be put by the time the show's over.
All right, welcome. And last but not least, Linda Dyer. She's part of our Self-Evolution cast as well, and she's joining us from Australia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here.
All right, awesome. So this is our kickoff show for season 6, and I'm very excited. And we're going to make this entire season about our viewers and also to provide as much value as we can possibly offer. And we're going to attempt to fill up our studios with live guests a number of times. So that's our goal. And to kick off the show, I would like to acknowledge each individual cast member, beginning with Ninon. So Ninon, what you were for me in season 5 is you have become so much more straight and honest. Not that you weren't before, but you were actually using lots of I statements. Sometimes you needed some nudging from me, but for me you have changed in a way that I think what the show is really all about, and that is to be able to share ourselves, be authentic, and be in touch with who we really are as much as possible. So, and I could always count on you, of course, for having a positive mindset and a positive attitude. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. That was very nice. And I truly feel, and I'd like to interject a little bit, that I have grown and I have sort of come out of, like everybody else, I guess, come out of my shell, and it's okay to say things and feel things and actually be me and be accepted that way. And I just love it. So I've had a great time. And thank you, Steve, for all you've put into helping me do that.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And so moving on to Jamie. Jamie, you've been getting much more animated than ever before. And I want to acknowledge you for your ability to really listen from a beautiful space, which is spirituality and connectedness, and also your willingness to even disagree with people on the show, including myself. And so thank you for that, and that made a huge difference for all of us, I believe, in season 5.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to Janet. Janet is here in Colorado, and she comes into the studio a lot. And what I want to acknowledge you for is that you're no longer shy like you used to be at the beginning. You used to kind of sit back and watch, and now I experienced you to be much more alive, much more willing to make a stand. Like you have this thing about that's very powerful, that when you feel very strongly about something, you make a stand and you do not let go. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Steve. Now, do we get a chance to say something about you too later on?
Well, you can if you want, or you can wait until I'm finished. Up to you.
Okay, I'll wait till you're finished so I don't mess your train of thought.
Okay, okay, great. And next is Linda. And so, Linda, I want to acknowledge you for your incredible sense of humor, your laughter. That certainly has been coming out a lot, especially in last season, and your willingness to really open up and share your personal journey. I think that made a huge contribution to the show in season 5. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, because this is an amazing team, and I think one of the beautiful things that we have is feeling a sense of trust and feeling that we can do that. And so if that comes across, then it's a credit to everybody. Thank you.
All right, so now it's your turn.
Okay. It's my turn. My turn. I'm the one
waiting.
who said that. Okay. So for me, I want to acknowledge you, Steve, because I know how hard and difficult it is to stay in a project such as this and to keep going when sometimes you question maybe how many viewers are really looking at the show, trying to get people into the audience and really kind of experience the energy that we have in the studio. And that takes a lot of commitment, and especially when you have, it seems like mostly the downturns, but there's some nuggets that are great things that come where it inspires you to keep going. So thank you.
Thank you, Janet.
Steve, I would, I think you've come such a long way, because I started out at the very beginning, like Jamie, and to see the progression of you as a mediator, as a host, as taking charge of all us women, because it seems to be a women's team. That's a big challenge, because we've all been opinionated, and we have sort of come back to you about your opinions and how you feel, and you've taken everything very well, but you haven't been offended by anything. You have grown with it and accepted the things that you may have not done the correct way and decided to do them the right way, and you have changed tremendously. And you are a very stubborn man, and you have become a very unstubborn man. So I think you've actually, and I don't mind saying that, you really have grown tremendously.
It takes a stubborn woman to
you.
Know that a man is a stubborn man.
Well, that's absolutely true. Took my throwing back. Wow. Okay, but I am definitely, I got that from my dad, and I love him dearly, still do, although he's up in heaven somewhere, I hope. Anyway, but you have come a long way. I know what it's like to put a show together. There's a lot of work, and actually, when you go into the studio, are we all going to connect? And that's something that I think you've done extremely well. So hats off to you.
Thank you, Ninon.
I'll go next. Steve, you really create the environment that allows everyone to share and to be open and to be honest and to be real. So, thank you, because as the producer and moderator of the show, you kind of direct everything. And so we have immense love and appreciation for you. So thank you.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Jamie.
I just want to interject as well. I think for me, this was a dream to get the messages out of whatever those messages are to a lot more people. And most people would be probably a little bit nervous to be on TV, but I think you make it very easy for somebody to be able to share their knowledge, share their wisdom, and also to be able to have the courage to stand up with their convictions and say, you know what? I don't feel like that, or I do feel like that, and this is why, and to be honest and open, and I applaud you for that, so thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is just we're going to reflect a little bit on some of the most favorite shows and the least favorite shows that you've had, that we all had for last season, and then after that we get right to the questions, and we have a whole bunch of questions, so we will be, I don't know what happened, something happened.
Someone kicked the bucket.
It's a live show, so.
Oh, I hope not. Steve, are you still there?
So right after this segment, we'll just get right to the questions. So let's start with Ninon. Ninon, which one was your most favorite show last season, and which one was your most favorite show, and why?
My most favorite show was actually with Chris Crone. I have two of them. One was Chris Crone, and one was the lady from New York, and I'm forgetting her name, Demi or something, I forget. Anyway, but I'm going to go for Chris Crone. And I think the reason I like Chris Crone is because I was probably in the arena of real estate, and knowing it as well as I know it, I felt so comfortable. But I also felt that everybody that was on the show also had the knowledge, and we presented an awful lot of stuff, which is what we're trying to do, present it to our audience. And I thought we gave a tremendous amount of knowledge, especially his knowledge. Chris Crone's knowledge was amazing, and it comes from the heart, because I know the guy very well, and he's a great guy, but he's from the heart. And I thought what you brought out in everybody with your questions and everything, I think you made us feel very comfortable, very at ease, and sort of made a great show, because you are kind of the realm at the back of it all, and then we could sort of all pop in and interrupt each other. And I think when we were speaking, we didn't really over-talk with anybody, although we all jumped in. And I just thought the whole show was just ran very smoothly as of what you want and trying to do. And so that was my great show. Bad show? Do you want bad show now or later?
Yeah, give us your least favorite one.
Well, the least favorite one was actually not aired.
Is what?
That was not aired.
Oh,
and
okay.
it was the spiritual pillow show.
There must have been a reason.
and I'm just thinking of what show, because I liked all the shows. So, but that show I really didn't like.
Yeah.
But it's hard to talk about a show that wasn't aired because people don't know what I'm talking about. But that was my least show I didn't like, and it wasn't aired. So I guess that just answers that question. Spirituality show, pillow show, whatever. Okay,
great. Thank you. All right. So what about you, Jamie?
My favorite show was a show I wasn't on, but I loved the show with Lee Gerdes with the brain training. And I was so taken by the show that I actually went and signed up and did the brain training. And so I felt like that show, it was so inspiring to me as a viewer instead of a cast member. And I was so amazed with the results of the brain training. And I felt like Lee really represented this product exactly for what it was and what it is. And so that was just fantastic.
Yeah, great. And he's coming back next week, by the way.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really am. And then the show that I felt was most improved, because there was not a show that I didn't like. But the one I felt was most improved was the show with Sensei. And I wasn't on that show either, but I felt that the team did a great job, as he did as well, in presenting a lot of good information. So that was the best, most improved show, I felt, for season 5.
Okay, great. Thank you. What about you, Janet?
Well, I like the one that Ninon said about the one that wasn't, I hadn't even thought about that, about the one that was not shown, the spirituality. But let me jump for the best. I thought the one I liked the best was How to Access Peace in the Moment. And I think it was Dina Proctor. Mm-hmm. I really liked her authentic, because she actually gave personal, close experiences of what it was like in her life. I thought that was very powerful, because that's how we learn, when we hear other people's, not tragedies, but other people's experiences. The least one, which is interesting, is Dr. Grant Cooley. Is that the one that you were saying, Jamie?
Yes, the most improved. Yes.
Yeah,
from previous seasons.
Well, yeah, and with that show, I think it was on How to Improve Your Life. I didn't get it. I still don't get the guy. He talks a language. He's probably very well educated, but I just don't get it. He doesn't speak the layman language that I can understand. So that was my least favorite.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And you, Linda?
Yeah, well, I was even going back through them, like yesterday, and it was really, really exciting. I did love the Chris Crone show, because I think you asked him a great question about consciousness, and he just jokingly just came out and he said, "Is there much of it around?" Like he said, I don't think there's many people out there that are actually conscious, and it was just a gorgeous opening to the show. And the whole show just went like that. It was just so off the cuff and natural, and we all felt really wonderful in the show. In fact, I think you had to tell us to be quiet to end the show. So it flowed and flowed.
And your least favorite one?
The other show I loved, just to interject, was The Chiropractor, the guy that talked about our health and how there are options out there. And I love that. I love that opportunity for people to know that there are options. The least favourite, again, was Sensei. I just didn't believe he lived his material. And lack of integrity stands out for me big time, because it's one of my highest values. And however, at the same time, like Jamie said, there's a lot of learning from something we don't like.
Okay, great. And so I might as well share you mine. So my most favorite was episode 9, which was How to Access Peace in the Moment, and that was Dina Proctor. And the reason why I love that show is because she was so extremely real and very easy to have a dialogue with. And she was the one that felt most like one of us. After all of us working together here for 2 years together, she came in from the outside world and just become easily one of us. for that 1 hour. And then my least favorite was episode 2, which is how to integrate the inner masculine and feminine. I felt that I really messed that show up myself. I had certain expectations that I wanted to bring out of the show, and it just didn't work. It just didn't work for me. So I want to revisit that in some future episodes because it's a huge subject matter, and I certainly want to do better at it than what I did. So that's it for me.
That's beautiful. To admit that, that's beautiful, Steve, to say that you actually sort of loused up a little bit, or you weren't quite conscious of the show. I think
it didn't work. The show didn't work for me. I think I was the cause of it.
Bad,
there you have it. All right, so
we carry you.
Yeah. Let's get to the questions that all of our viewers have sent in, and there's been a lot of it, and hopefully we can get to them all. And so let me start with let's see. I'm not going to pick any favorite ones, but here's one from David P. And David P. is asking, do we need different mentors for different parts of our life, or is just one mentor good for everything? Should we stay with one mentor for most of our life is what he's asking, I think, or do we need different ones for different parts of our lives? Who would like to take that on?
I would like to answer that, at least initially.
Okay.
Because, I think at different times in our life, we need different things. And I think it's important to be open to the people that resonate with what you're asking for. And I think we're always asking, and there's so much out there that we can tap into in terms of resources. So I think it's good that we trust our intuitive knowing that when we're asking and something comes before us, if it resonates, go with it. And then for the next question, maybe it will be another person or another mentor. But I think that a variety of mentors is a really healthy option for people. So that's what I would like to say.
I think I'd like to say, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think what I'd like to say, I actually think you do need different mentors, but I think you need one grounded. It's like having a best girlfriend or a best boyfriend, but a best girlfriend in my case. And, you always gravitate to them, but you always have all the other ones in between and all the other ones that you're talking to. And I think the same applies to having mentors as of different subjects and different places you're going, and to understand that it is okay to ask somebody else a question because you need to be mentored about it or you need to understand it better. And sometimes that one person doesn't understand everything, although to you and what you've been going through with that person is also 100% great. But just, open up. And you can open up because you do not want to stay in one place anyway. So to get the knowledge from other people, I think is definitely should be done. And don't be afraid of it. It's okay.
Okay, great. Anybody else?
Yes, I'd like to. I was just waiting for Janet I thought she came in before. I think, like for me, I believe that your personal life is equated also to your business life because we can't outperform our self-image. However, I have a business mentor and I have a personal mentor. And I think it's really important that I go to different people. It's like, if I want to do something about a new laptop, I'm going to go to people that know about that. But I'm not going to go to them in order to change my dress size or in order to change something in my clothing. So for me, whatever we need, as Jamie said, we'll gravitate to those people. And if their advice is something that we resonate with and it's assisting us to move to another level, go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel the same way, actually. I feel that whatever it is that you need some assistance with, or there's areas of your life that, or our lives, taking from my own example, I go to specialists. Just like, when I needed new glasses, I go to a place where they're actually experts at doing glasses, right? And there are good doctors there. And, instead, I don't go to the car shop to get new glasses, and unfortunately,
you get two big wheels.
And unfortunately, a lot of times people don't think about that because, for example, in the case of Chris Cron, since we brought him up, that he's a real estate expert, and he's also so he's in finance, and and you really want, I think everybody should be, and this is true for me, that I want to check out, like when I do something or when I'm getting some advice, we need to be responsible ourselves to check out that the person that we're getting advice from or help, that they actually know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Because it's so easy, people so easily pretend that they are experts at all these things. And from my own personal experience, I am not expert at all things. As a matter of fact, we have all these things about health and wellness and relationships, and we have 7 different areas of our lives, and I am not experts in all those areas. Some of them I am, but most of them I'm not. So I'm not going to go help somebody with their health when I need help with my health myself, since I don't know if I shared this on the show, but I had diabetes. I was diagnosed with diabetes 2 just a month ago. So I wouldn't say that, and I may become an expert since I'm not going through this, and maybe I can help other people with diabetes in the future. But right now, I'm depending on other people, other experts to help me so that I can help myself. So next question.
So we all agree.
Yes, on this one we all agree.
Great.
Next question. Brad N. asked, when in the hiring process should I ask a finance or money question?
Well, I'll answer that a little bit since I'm in financing a lot. You don't really ask that, and I don't know if you're asking the question of how much he's going to get paid or how much they're going to pay him or whatever the case is. But I've always come up with a great idea because I had a foundation. So everybody expected me to do everything for free because I happened to have a foundation. So therefore I was worth nothing. And I could do everything for free and had all this time and everything. Well, I didn't. So my greatest thing was, and I would always come back and I would always say, what's your budget? And there would always be silence on the other end of the phone. A budget? Oh, we don't have one. So I would personally say, yes, well, that's fine. When you come up with a budget, call me back and let me know what your budget is, and we'll go from there. So there's nothing wrong in asking it. But I think when you come out directly with financing and what it's going to cost and how much you're paying me, I think you have to kind of work it around with wordage, personally.
Yeah. Okay. So just to clarify, I think he's asking from, because one of our areas of evolution is career. So he's asking specifically, going through, this is in the hiring process. So when in the hiring process should I ask so he's talking about being interviewed for a potential job, and he wants to know when in that process should I ask a finance or money question?
Probably right away. I think it's a very important question, and I think that your own sense of self-worth is important, and to start that process with what are you expecting to pay people in this position? I think it's a wonderful first question.
Okay.
Because quite clearly the interview might be over right then and there for the person.
May I respectfully disagree with you?
You, of course. I would only hope you would do that.
Okay. So I don't think you should bring that up at the beginning. I think most people in an interview process should wait until the employer brings up money. And if they don't bring it up, then I think you should wait until they make an offer, because until then, it doesn't really matter.
Well, also your qualifications might be better than somebody else coming in. So therefore the
I think
until
then, what we should be focusing on is to make sure that we qualified for the job, and that we have communicated clearly to the potential employer that we are qualified for what they're looking for, and we know really who they are. I cannot tell you, when I used to be an employer, I still am, but on a much bigger scale, how many people came into interviews and had no idea, no clue what we were doing?
Okay,
Zero
but
clue.
I would like to interject something. This is a new day, and I think that there are so many overly qualified people out there that are really that are trying to find jobs. And in some ways, I think it would be helpful to know at some point in the interview what is the pay. Because there are more overqualified people looking for jobs now than ever before.
Yeah,
not underqualified.
Yeah, I understand that,
qualified.
but at the beginning, I believe. I mean, I truly believe that pretty much everything that we do in our lives is about relationships, and if we don't approach getting a job from that place, that you really want them to like you and you want them to like them, because if you don't, why would you want to work there?
Well, I'm going to interject something, because we're kind of going on what they're going to get paid. Wouldn't they sort of know part of that before they went for the job? I mean, you could be going for a job, yeah. If you're going for a job and it's paying 30,000, you want 120. What on earth are you doing there?
Right.
Well,
so that
yeah,
should be
there's a lot more
at least
to
it's
it.
in the medium
yeah,
of where...
there's a lot more to it. Of course, a lot of times when people post jobs, employers post jobs, they will give you a range, but then it's always up to negotiating at some point in the process, what your salary is going to be, what your benefits are going to be. And there's a lot of other financial questions. It isn't just about your salary. It's about benefits. It's about all the other things that make up the entire picture. So,
well, I think you're right then. It should be closer to the end.
I just have a strong feeling that talking about that, and it's no different. If a vendor calls me and the very first thing that they want to talk about is how much their service is and what they want to charge me, I'm totally turned off.
Okay. Well, the other part of this is, too, the person who's applying for a job should make sure they want the job before they discuss the money. So that would be another way of going about it, and I think you're correct. Wait till the end of the interview, but first know if you want the job, because you'll probably have to sit through the interview to find out if you want the job, and then if you want the job, then ask about the money.
Okay.
And that's a two-sided thing, because actually for our person who's asking this question is, you feel your way through it. And then the person that's interviewing you, maybe he likes you better than the person that just walked out of the door and might want to pay you more. So feel your way, and I think to give this guy an answer is feel your way through it. And there's always a little place in there that you can start answering, because usually there's something is said and something is done, and usually it's on their side that you can sort of work your way into it without being offensive.
Okay.
If I'm going for a job, for me, it's more around the passion. Like I remember coming back from the University of Oregon with my degrees, and nobody in this country had the degrees that I had. So, and I've got 5 jobs in front of me, and it wasn't about the money. It was about which job do I want to do? And then I went to the interview knowing that that particular job that I wanted to do was the least paying, and there would be an opportunity for me to show them how I can do that job in a great manner, and my wage will increase. So it wasn't so much about when to ask for the money. The money options were there. It's about whether I was passionate enough to do a great job, and the money would flow.
Yeah, but you did have 5 offers. Some people don't have any offers. Some people have no offers. So, that is a good idea.
If you turn it around the other way, as a coach before, and some coaching isn't that cheap. We get paid quite well here. So I would do a first coaching for free and allow the person to work out, does it fit in with them? Do we want to work together? And then I would call it an investment rather than a cost, because people are now investing in themselves, and I think that's extremely important. And they've got a list of things from our first coaching that they could possibly work on to allow them to be that great person they want to be. So it's different when you look at it from 2 different perspectives.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, we're moving on. Okay, so what is enlightenment, and how will you know that you have attained it?
Well,
I guess
enlightenment.
Who wants to take that on?
Well, actually, I'm going to just talk a little bit. My brother just came into town, and he has enlightened me on his life, which I truly did not know a lot before. So I'm just going to give a brief synopsis of it, that he's enlightened me of things that I didn't even think of or really thought about, but I had another person, but he's close to me, we're very close. And so he enlightened me on sort of options that I could have and where I could go and what I could do. So
it's not that kind of an enlightenment.
All right. Well, I was enlightened.
I don't think this viewer is talking about that kind of an enlightenment. We're talking about a state that a human being can reach after going through this journey of consciousness. You can get to a point where
it's called maybe like
everything that I'm
moment.
saying right now, I heard from someone else. So I don't. The true answer for me is I don't know. I don't really know what enlightenment is. I have some ideas.
On enlightenment?
What
Isn't it related to awareness?
Yeah, it's related to awareness, and it's related to a place almost like nirvana, where I think where we are no longer struggling in this body, where we have somehow worked out the fact that we no longer get activated by things. It's a state like that. But since I haven't reached it, I can't really say, what it feels like. And everything that I know about enlightenment is something I read about or heard about or seen on television or in a movie. I don't really have had an experience of it myself, so I can't really say.
Well, I just thought I did with my
degrees, though. Yeah, and I think you're right, Nina, on where somebody can enlighten you so that you move to a different level of awareness.
You did.
And
that's exactly what happened.
And so that's more, you are more enlightened than you were before. It may not be the peak of your enlightenment, but to reach, because at every level of awareness, which is levels of enlightenment, we meet people at a different level. We actually attract them into our world. And I think for me, it's like a calmness, because before, like most people, I was working, 24/7, and just to get everything done and do it, because that was like, people would recognize you and think you were amazing if you worked hard. But I was enlightened to think that working smart was a lot more of a different way to go, and I'm calmer. I can have more time with my elderly father, who's nearly 90, my family, et cetera, and still get my work done. So I am much more enlightened to where I was. However, to get to that peak of enlightenment, maybe we never ever do, because I think it's a work in progress. To me, it's
always
an
happening.
everyday.
You're enlightened to something, whatever that something is. Somebody brings it to your attention, or you're enlightened to something new or something different, or looking at it differently. And somebody else gives you that beautiful way of, I didn't think I could look at it that way, but now I can, so you get enlightened.
Well, I think history probably would teach us that there are certain individuals in our history that have reached enlightenment. And the words that come to mind for me is perhaps Christ, perhaps
the Dalai Lama,
perhaps who else we can come up with? Perhaps
the new Pope. We've got a new Pope now.
Yeah, I was just going to say the Pope.
Possibly.
Pope Francis we've got now. He's going to enlighten us into a new world, of his world.
Mother Teresa.
Yes.
Mother Teresa, for sure.
Yeah, so we have some examples, to refer to. But
is Janet still with us?
I am. I'm just enjoying the conversation.
Do you have anything to say about enlightenment?
Well, the thing for me, I agree with what Ninan and Linda and Jamie said. I think enlightenment is really kind of a process, and I think when we get there, I think we're dead, and we go to the next level. We go in energetically. So I think it's.
Well, I'm not sure that we're dead. I mean, Christ we killed because we couldn't handle how enlightened he was.
Could be.
Well, after 3 days, I'm going to come back.
Yes, exactly. Try it again.
You're not getting rid of me that fast.
Okay, are we ready for the next one?
Ready.
All right, so here's one from Angie B. Why do people not accept that there is a great healing power out there that we all have, that is available to all of us, no matter what we believe in?
That's such a great question, because people don't believe in what they can't see, even though it is true that we have access, each and every one of us, to all of those healing powers, to receive them and to actually give them. So I think we're skeptical. We can't see it. But if you allow yourself to feel it, you would be more enlightened.
Now that's a good one.
That's amazing. Actually,
wow.
Go ahead.
My sense is that most of us are unconscious, and we don't, like Jamie said, we're not aware of it. And I think that our culture has, it's not stereotype. What's the word I want to say? The culture has trained us, or we've gotten sucked into it, that we don't believe that we can heal, or that there's many other options out there for us. Because I know our body does have the ability to heal, But a lot in our culture today and how our science is, they're not looking at that, nor do they encourage that.
I actually put it to the test. So it's an amazing process where you don't believe, like, as I said, working, and eventually the body just went down like a ton of bricks. And then having that faith, having that ability to believe that there's something else out there that can assist you. And I remember saying to the doctors, I won't be coming back here anymore. I remember it was like, I'm going to leave from that level and I'm going to go to the next level of awareness. And I'm going to believe that out there in the universe, somebody out there, something out there is going to assist me. And it was my own thoughts. And so by sending my own thoughts out, the quantum physicists would say that, you know, they reflect off the universe and the universe then sends you back everything you want. And of course, I'm well today because I believe that there was an option out there to become well, and I'm loving every moment of it.
It's funny because all this is sort of roved around a young lady that is actually staying with me. And I believe in some things and not other things, but she wants to put hands over me and heal my body and just heal me all the way through. And I've never had that done before. And maybe not because I haven't had the opportunity, but maybe I didn't have time, whatever the case was. Anyway, she first did it to my brother. And I'm watching what she's doing. I said, what on earth are you doing? And she said, well, I'm healing him. Be quiet. So I said, okay, fine. Then I'm thinking, I'm getting jealous. I'm thinking, okay, he's now doing it. Now I want to do it. You know, brother-sister thing. So because of him and because of her, she went and did it to me. And I truly, and sometimes when people do things like that, you will say, oh, no, it wasn't that. It was something else. I was just saying, I'm truly going to admit that when she actually did this, she never touched me at any time. But she put me in this lovely, relaxed place, and I was in my bedroom, actually, on my bed, so that was a relaxing place to be in the first place. But she put her hands over, and it was just, and I can't say I feel great today, but I really, really feel like it's like a whole thing that was lifted out. But I kind of allowed it, and if I hadn't allowed it by always saying, oh, no, later, it doesn't matter, incredible. So I think anybody out there can have that opportunity to go ahead and do it. Do it. Love your body and let somebody, you know, not control it, but let somebody else go through it and help you. I think it was great.
Yeah. All right. So I think for me, the reason why people are not accepting that there's a greater healing power out there is because most people are closed. People are not open. It's like most of us act like we know. Like we really know how it works, how life works. And the truth is we don't. Because everything that we know from somebody else, usually from our parents, and all the people that have been in our lives teaching us all these things. But that doesn't mean that all those things that we know, all this information and knowledge in our head is actually true for us. How do I know this? It's because I recently was just diagnosed with diabetes 2. I could have easily died, I guess, because my blood sugar was 400. And I didn't realize until I kind of looked within myself that my mother taught me anger so well because she was angry herself. She wasn't angry at me. She was angry at the experiences that she had in her life, and she took it out on me because I was the closest to her. And I became an angry person myself, growing up in that environment. And I've been angry most of my life about all kinds of things there's to be angry. I was angry because of the communists. I was angry because of all the lies. And then I was angry. I came to this beautiful free country called the United States of America. And you would
You're
think,
still angry.
you would think that you wouldn't find, because it's so, the place is so beautiful that there would be no reason to be angry. But then, did I find it? Yeah, of course. I found it in corporate America. I found it in the very first professional consulting job I had. I had a teacher, talking about masters and gurus. And, my boss, the person that owned the company, was a very angry person. But guess what? I found these people. This was not, none of this was an accident.
You attracted all these people.
I attracted it to all myself because it fed my belief that how life is supposed to be is I'm supposed to be angry. Well, guess what?
You're taking on their anger. You weren't. You were taking on all their anger. that made you angry?
Well, guess what? I'm done being angry.
Hallelujah.
Because
okay.
it made me really ill. And I don't want to be ill anymore. I want to live for a long time. And I looked inside and I'm going like, okay, so what the heck is diabetes is all about? Well, it's about sugar. It's about your sugar level. It's related to my ability to live my life sweetly, without sugar, without without the chocolate. I don't need the chocolate. I can experience life and its sweetness right now. I don't need anything. I don't need a piece of chocolate.
In other words, you love all these 4 ladies in front of you?
Yes, I do. I love you all deeply because of not just because of what you're up to, because of who you are.
You probably love us more.
And I love you, and I love you with all the things that you are and all the things that you are not. And even the things that I don't like about you, I love, because I recognize that it's part of who you are.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Accept them.
And it's fine. And I don't need to change Ninon, and I don't need to change Jamie, and I don't need to change any of you, because you're perfect, just the way you are.
Mm-hmm. And we're all different, which is even better, because if we were all the same.
Different shape, different looks, different tone of voice, different everything, and it's great. Yeah.
Isn't it? Well, now you understand it all, which is now you're feeling that beautiful place to be. Hey, girls, we're all great now.
In order to attract that universal energy that will heal us, we just have to go from a place of ignorance, which is where you said people were closed. I think people may be closed, but I think it comes from ignorance. I mean, how many people taught us when we were growing up that we could believe that we could be well and we just get well? No, they would just give us a Panadol.
Well, people are closed because they think that they have the answers. And I'm saying that let's give that up. We don't have the answers. We have other people's knowledge and opinions that may or may not be true for us. So I am a proponent of, for me, to get rid of all the beliefs that I have ever took on that no longer works for me. And I was just giving you an example of that. Being angry is a belief that I bought. I bought that that's part of who I needed to be. That doesn't work for me anymore, and I'm getting rid of it.
Could I just chime in? Because I want to say something very important. Once we make the conscious choice to get rid of all of the beliefs that we have taken on from our family of origin or society or whoever else, beneath that, we have this true intuitive knowing. And when we get to that place, we absolutely know everything we need to know for ourselves. So that's very important that we all understand that. At that point, we will look within and we will have the true answers, the true unconditionally loving answers for every question that we have about what we're needing to address. So that's important to know.
And do you understand that? I mean, you say that we need to understand it, but do you personally?
I personally so deeply understand that.
Okay,
yes,
and do you live it every moment of your life?
I live it pretty much every moment of my life. And when I don't, my inner being taps me on the shoulder and I become aware very quickly. And once you start living it, you can't be without that. It becomes so real because that's when we're real. It's us really knowing who we are and how we're feeling. And I think that we all have the ability to tune back into that. We all had that when we were born, and now how can we redirect ourselves back to that place? Mm-hmm. So, okay. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Here's the next one. Why is it our responsibility to manage our thoughts, and how does this actually contribute to mass consciousness? Wow. Good question.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Why is it our responsibility to manage our own thoughts, and how does this actually contribute to mass consciousness? This was an enlightened being that asked this question.
well, I would like to just say that I think that's the only thing we can manage is our own thoughts. We really can't manage anyone else's thoughts. We can't manage anyone else's actions. And once we master that control of our own thoughts, I think we're really in a state of enlightenment. We're completely connected to ourselves. And how can that not contribute to mass consciousness. So
Agreed,
Yeah,
Jamie.
I agree. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I agree. Actually, don't be too worried about your own thoughts. Don't think that's because somebody else doesn't like them. It doesn't really matter. It's your thoughts, and like them, enjoy them, and like yourself. It's okay. It's okay to like your own thoughts.
Well, hang on for a minute. When we're talking about is it our responsibility to manage our thoughts, who's managing whom?
Well, you're managing yourself, aren't you? If you don't manage yourself, who else is?
Yeah,
if
but
you allow somebody else to.
Who's the self and who are we managing?
Ourselves.
And who's that?
Who we are. Who we are
our
inside.
universal connection.
Yeah, there you go.
No, this is an important distinction. I want to make sure that we make this clear to all of our viewers.
So you've asked that question 3 times. What is your thought?
Okay, well, my understanding for me is that what I'm managing is I'm managing my ego. Because my ego already knows everything there is to know. It's got this thing called the mind, and it has trillions and trillions of bits of information in it, that it has an answer for everything, not just one, multiple. And if I let it run all by itself without connecting this to this, my heart, it will run amok. And who is the one?
This is all very new for you, actually, because you said you're changing to be sweeter and nicer and everything else. So
no, this is not new to me. This is something I know about for a long time. What's new to me is actually the doing of it. The concept is not new to me.
Okay, yes. No, of course the concept isn't.
But this is the thing. When we are managing our thoughts and we are connected to ourselves, there is no ego. So it's a matter of, the ego stands down when we're connected to ourselves. And so when our ego kicks in, that's a clear indicator we're not connected to ourselves.
Yes, but we got to know the difference. And who's the one that knows the difference?
We know the difference because we can feel the difference.
Yes.
If we are tuned into ourselves. And then we can also make the choice. Sometimes we'll say, I don't want to be connected. I'm just going to let my ego run wild.
I want to say that the one that knows the difference is the one that when we were born, that one.
Yes. Well, that's the unconditional loving being.
The one that's pure, the one that's magnificent, the one that's capable of creating anything he or she wants.
That's right.
And then we forgot.
Well, we forget.
Our ego set in.
Well,
we
our
forget.
ego set in.
Yeah. So I think we got it clarified. Okay. I'm satisfied. Are you satisfied?
I'm very satisfied with your answer, Steve. I think it's very enlightening because I know where you're going and it's beautiful.
Okay.
But I think the second part of the,
Are you falling in love with me, Ninan?
question about how
Without
we
my
affect the
knowledge.
masses.
What?
When you're managing the second part of your question about how we affect the masses.
How we contribute to mass
how
consciousness.
does that contribute to the mass consciousness? Yes.
Yeah, is through the law of attraction. So the more you're managing your thoughts and what you're doing, you're sending out that message of connectedness. And of course, other people are going to pick that up and it's going to come back to you. So you're going to attract, as I said, the different levels of awareness. You're going to attract people at that level. So yeah, the more you're connected and the more you put out this amazing energy, other people will be inspired by that and they'll learn how to do the same as we learned.
Yes, it's funny because however you are, if you come out and you're sort of feeling a little angry or something and you're really not in touch with yourself, obviously if you're angry, and you're sort of approaching people, you'll see how many people are really not interested in you. When you come out and you're smiling and you're happy and you're connected, it's amazing how many people become connected to you as well.
Yeah. All right. So I got to pick and choose now because we're getting to the end of the show. So we'll if you ladies want to, we can pick these questions up again on future shows. But here's one that really jumps out at me. This is awesome. So this is coming from Suzanne B. Question
great
is,
lady.
when I am on my deathbed, how will I answer this question? Did my life matter?
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Did your life matter to who, though? To you or
To
to
you.
someone else? Because that's a really important distinction. Do we live our lives for other people, or do we live our lives because we really want the connected, loving, complete experience?
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance on this, that she meant for herself. Yeah.
Yeah, she did actually.
That her life mattered to her.
Hopefully.
And interestingly, like, you know, I'm still here doing the show, so I have not been in my deathbed yet. But I think what's interesting is that because I have been through a few people dying around me, and actually been through one experience where I was actually next to someone, actually over them. I was leaning over them as they were dying. It's a remarkable experience, by the way. So I think at that point, and I'm not sure that I necessarily know this, but at that point, I don't think anything matters in our lives other than relationships and who we are and who we were for others and ourselves. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's about if you're on your deathbed, it's a little bit too late to go back and correct anything, because that now's the time, and when we're alive and when we're conscious and we're awake, now's the time to live in the present moment and to do those things, and not be an individual on their deathbed and say, oh, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have been better here. Now, and what I find is not only in a deathbed, but what I find is when people get a significant disease in their body like cancer, that is a huge wake-up call. I just saw something on my Facebook of a woman who is in stage 4 cancer. She's dying, and she did a beautiful job on her blog, really talking about how this cancer has woke her up and how she feels so blessed. And like you said, Steve, she's looking at those relationships, you know, not only in her family and her friends, but what a great piece. And I think that's so thrilling that people wake up.
Well, but I also wanted to connect it to the ego. I have this feeling that when we're on our deathbed, our ego recognizes that it's over, and it actually stops. It stops wanting to control us, and it stops wanting to save us, because it can't. It recognizes that we're at that moment. Mm-hmm. So like that, you know, this thing that we have in our lives, this constant in and out of consciousness, in and out of, you know, are we connected or aren't we connected? You know, are we part of the chaos, or are we part of a, you know, a more connected way of being with ourselves and with others? The ego kind of says it gives up. What do you think? It just says, you know, I can't save you anymore, so I might as well just lay down.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer that. I just want to inject something right here now that regarding dying or whatever this thing is. I'm not afraid of dying at all. I never have been. I feel very satisfied within my own body of what I've done in this life and what I've contributed to a lot of my friends. I hope that they have received it in the way I meant it. But then I've also met a lot of people that are afraid of dying. And when they say they're afraid of dying, I look at them and I think, what have you done, or what haven't you done, or what haven't you finished, or what is something you want in your life that you would like to do before you die, since you're afraid of it? So I've always had that question, why are you afraid of dying? We're all going to die sooner or later, one time, older, younger, we're all going there. So what would you be afraid of? And I don't have that. I've never had that, but I probably have peace in my own mind. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I just do.
I do too, Ninan. And if I died tomorrow, I would feel complete. I feel like I have done everything that I've come here to do and more. And if I were to transition tomorrow, so be it. And it's such a peaceful way to live, knowing that you can be in your now and ready for whatever. So.
And I am. I'm just complete. And I don't know why, and you probably don't know why either,
No,
Jamie. But
I don't care.
feel that I've. No, I don't care. That doesn't have to be a reason why. It's just that I feel that way, and I just want people to know out there that just make sure that you get all that stuff that some things you really want to do. Do it. Do it with a smile on your face. Do it that. Okay, I've done it, and now it's okay. I can go. You know.
It's like that statement that life's too short. Just do it.
You never know. Do it.
I went from one to the other. So I went from being afraid of dying because I didn't feel I had done enough. So unlike what Steve said, is it about you or the universe? For me, it was more the universe. Have I done enough in this life for the universe, for people out there? And for me, it wasn't. And so I was afraid of dying.
It's only you that knows that.
Yeah, I was teaching a Master Prac course, and I sat myself down in 3 chairs. And on that day, I was setting my goals beyond my death. And I went, oh, and little tears started to run down my cheeks. I still remember it. And then that's what gave me the oomph to get on and finish my programs and write my books and do a wonderful...
Guess what's happening? I got to cut you off. I'm sorry. So,
just go do it.
So for me, I feel that if I died today, I mattered. I mattered to me. That I constantly wanted to become a better human being, moment to moment. So that's the only thing that really keeps me going. So we have to end the show. I really don't want to. I want to continue, but we can't. So we're going to continue it next week. And thank you so much. It's been an extremely awesome show. I had a great time with all of you. I love you all and all of our viewers.
I love you too.
And all of the questions. Go to our website, livingconsciously.tv. Interact with us. Leave us more questions. Have fun with us. All right? So we'll be back next week with a great guest. And looking forward to it. Always on Saturdays afternoon, Living Consciously TV, 3 p.m., channel 56. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.